facility in downtown San Diego, ready to host baseball. And with my partner Ryan Spilborgs, I'm Drew Goodman. You know, the road for the Rockies in their history had not been a good place. But guess what? Of late, and really for more than a year now, it has been a good place. The Rockies enjoy seeing new sights, meeting new people, and winning baseball games.
That's the important part. I think when you're looking at the Rockies going out on the road, especially given the fact that they're playing below 500 at home, 6-0. Best record in baseball in May. And you got to think about it this way too, Drew. This is a pretty important in-division West Coast rivalry road trip. When you're looking at the Diamondbacks, they've lost 6 straight. Here's your opportunity to beat a team that you should be beating. Look at the numbers. They're fantastic. This gives the Rockies an edge on a very important road trip.
Played a good ball game last night. They win 6-4, and they did it again with the long ball. For the 7th time this year, they hit 3 home runs in a game. Amazingly, 6 have been out on the road. And it's not the guys you would have thought. Daniel Castro, his 3rd career home run, first as a Rocky, and then this was a beautiful thing. You remember your first career bomb. It happened right here. This is Noel Cuevas.
I like for the Rockies the last couple games getting an opportunity to see the bench, a different bench than we saw earlier in the year. And with the Cuevas and with the Castro, you're watching quality at bats. We know that DJ LeMahieu, you'd love to have him back. But to get some level of production from Castro last night was important. And obviously seeing 2 home runs from 2 young guys in a game at the same time is super cool.
I want to try to jog your memory. You know, old teammates, that sort of thing. Do you remember a guy by the name of Garrett Atkins?
Never heard of him.
Well, we're going to reintroduce you to him in a little while because he's going to be a special part of our broadcast tonight. In fact, Jenny's going to have more on.
Oh, I remember him now.
You do remember him now? Okay. A little bit more on Garrett when we come back with Jenny.
We're getting ready for some day baseball at Petco Park between the Rockies and the Padres. Well, it's strange to think that the Rockies and Padres are matching up for the 12th time this season. Hopefully the Rockies can get away with a win. And before we get away on a Tuesday, we got to talk about our Toyota Talk 25 today, honoring Garrett Atkins. You may remember Garrett, his best career season, 2006, but in 2007, a big part of that team that made it in their NL championship season. Down the stretch, he hit .414. That was the last 15 games, part of that winning 21 of 22. That included 3 home runs from him and 3 game-winning RBI. There's no doubt that Garrett Atkins was a big part of this franchise as well. He played a lot of games with Colorado, 642. That's the 3rd most by any third baseman, a .289 average in purple. 98 of his 99 career home runs came with the Colorado Rockies, just 1 of 7 Rockies with consecutive 110-plus RBI seasons. Well, we're going to hear from Garrett Atkins throughout the broadcast today. He's going to be tweeting along with us. So if you have any questions for the former third baseman, go ahead and send those our way at AT&T Sportsnet RM. Don't forget to hashtag Toyota Talk 25. You can also send your memories along as well. We look forward to the broadcast today from sunny San Diego. Rockies looking forward to another road game. They've won them all on the road in the month of May. We'll be right back.
It is a gorgeous afternoon, as you'd expect in San Diego, and we're set for baseball. The Rockies at Petco Park. They'll head up north to San Francisco tomorrow. Tomorrow's a day off. Thursday, they'll begin a 4-game set against the Giants. But first things first, the Rockies looking to make it 4 straight at Petco Park. Looking to go 8-4 this year against the Padres, who they have seen more frequently than any other team. And they'll also move to 5 games north of 500 with a win. Got to put some sunscreen on to catch rays in the dugout. David Dahl's leading things off this afternoon for the Rockies. Charlie Blackmon is just fine, with Buddy taking advantage of the day off tomorrow to get 48 hours off for Charlie, though you may see him later on in the ball game. Gerardo Parra, he's swinging the bat well. Big 3-run home run last night. He'll bat second. Then it's Nolan. Carr goes back in there. Trevor Story will bat fifth. Pat Valleca's at first base for Desmond. Tony Walters behind the plate. Daniel Castro, we talked about his home run last night, and they're going to face a guy they know well in Jordan Lyles, who obviously was a Rocky for several years. And here's the Conoco matchup on the mound. Jordan Lyles will go for the Padres. His second start of the year. He's working out of the bullpen earlier. And Herman Marquez, who's been great on the road, will have the baseball for Colorado.
Take a look at the arsenal for Jordan Lyles. You still remember his fastball cutter, but he's throwing a curveball harder. He's trying not to have the quote-unquote hump in the curveball. He wants it power, he wants it down in the count, and wants it down in the zone. Hitters on the season are hitting .211 against Jordan Lyles.
He also, Spilly, is throwing harder. His average fastballs are just under 95 miles an hour. He's always had a big arm, but the last couple of years it was a lot more 91s and 92s. And he's quickly ahead of Dahl, 0-2. David has faced Jordan Lyles just once in his career, 0 for 1. Fifth career start leading off in the big leagues for David. Throughout his life, he's hit a lot of leadoff and he's hit a lot of 3-hole. Going back to high school, we were talking to him about that today. Growing up in Alabama, he hit either 1 or 3, and when they stopped pitching to him in the 3-hole, the head coach put him up first. David goes down swinging, so he is gone, and that was that breaking ball in the dirt. That'll bring up Gerardo Parra.
For the Win is brought to you by Pizza Ranch. Today it's David Gerardo Gonzalez. That's because Charlie Blackmon not in center field today. Top of the lineup was David Dahl, Gerardo Parra, and Carlos Gonzalez hitting 4th. We'd like to see some offense from the top of the lineup. We know how important it is for the Rockies to score first. So I just combined all their names, and I thought it sounded cool.
You worked on that for quite some time this morning. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Here's Gerardo. He had that booming 3-run home run yesterday, and he pops this one up. And it's handled by Freddie Galvis. So 2 outs on 5 pitches for Lyles. Take a look at San Diego's defense. They have a couple of changes to tell you about. Travis Jankowski's been swinging the bat well, and he's in center field for Manuel Margot. It's Franchi Cordero and Franmil Reyes. Both young men hail from the Dominican Republic. They're on the corners. Villanueva, Galvis, Perella, and Hosmer in the infield. And it's Rafi Lopez doing the catching for A.J. Ellis. 2 outs, and here's Nolan. And Nolan takes a strike just on the outer edge, right at 94 miles an hour. Hunter Wendelstedt's calling balls and strikes. Ramon De Jesus at first, David Rackley at second, Larry Vanover, the crew chief, is at third. And that's a strike also, almost the same spot.
Well, the Rockies remember Jordan Lyles using a sinker. He was primarily sinker slider. And Darren Balsley of the San Diego Padres said, nope, let's just get you 4-seam. Let's use the power curve, and you can use your slider.
That looked like a cutter or slider in the dirt, 1 and 2. Nolan yesterday threw out 3 more hits, had an intentional walk, so he was on base 4 times. He had a ribby yesterday. He's now reached in 24 consecutive games. His personal best is 30 back in 2014. Here's the 1-2. And that's a strong inning by Jordan Lyles. He gets Nolan to chase. Worked less than 10 pitches, 2 strikeouts. Herman Marquez, his turn when we come back. This time of year, a little beach volleyball going on. Far from Mission Beach, Petco Park, and 48 has the baseball today. German Marquez, 9th start of the year. A huge difference for German, home and road. He has a very high home ERA of 10.34. That'll change. But out on the road, one of the best in baseball. 2-1 with a 196.
3 straight quality starts for German. Fastball, curveball are his best pitches. He is using a changeup, and more importantly, we've noticed some numbers for him as he got first pitch strike. That's important, especially against left-handed hitters. Over the last 4 starts, lefties are hitting 600 against his fastball. I directly correlate it to first pitch strikes.
He needs more than anything to get out of the first inning. For whatever reason, he has really struggled in the first frame. And he falls behind 2-1 on that pitch in the dirt to Jankowski. Jankowski started the year in AAA. Called up, and he's done a nice job hitting .349. Now it's 3-1.
First inning ERA for German is 12.38.
And a ground ball through the right side. A base hit for Jankowski. Got himself in a hitter's count. And he got the barrel out and hit it sharply past Daniel Castro. The Jankowski, who can run, former #1 pick, is at first, and that'll bring up Eric Hosmer. Here's the Southwest batting order for Andy Green this afternoon. After Hosmer, Jose Perella, Franchi Cordero back cleanup. Ramil Reyes been in the big leagues for 24 hours. He's got his second start. Rocky Lopez, Christian Villanueva, Freddie Galvis, who had a single, double, and triple last night. And this ball is hit a long way to right, and it is gone. Well, so much for getting out of the first inning unscathed. A single and a bomb from Hosmer, and it's already 2-0. And lefties, as you said a moment ago, just terrorizing German Marquez and that fastball.
Batting average now well over 600 against German's fastball for lefties in the last 4 games. He's trying to throw, get it ahead of the hitter with the fastball for a strike, and Hosmer all over it.
He came up there hunting that first pitch fastball, and he got it on the inner half, and he crushed it on the outside corner for a strike. Perella comes in at 265. And he hits a ground ball to Trevor. That unsightly first inning ERA is going to go up for Marquez. Still trying to find that groove that we saw him in for a good portion of his rookie year last year, especially in the middle of the summer. David Dahl's in the middle. He had 5 starts in center field in 2016. Cargo and Parra with him. Arenado, Story, Castro, and Valleca in the infield, with Tony Walters doing the catching. And that bunt's going to go foul. Tony was trying to chase the baseball. Hopefully he's okay. He kind of wiped out.
They always soak the home plate area pretty good before games here in San Diego, especially during day games, because over the course of the game it will get drier and drier as the sun beats down. He just slipped straight in the mud. We saw a ball last night. Nolan Arenado hit straight into the dirt, and it just stuck.
There's a strike at the bottom of the zone. Marquez has to erase it. Just, you know what? You can still pitch a pretty game. You got to move past the 2-run shot. Well, look at these first inning issues. 9 starts. He's allowed 13 first inning runs. I asked Buddy about that today. Buddy was a terrific pitcher for a long time in the big leagues. And he said, you know, there's some guys, for whatever reason, and you try to alter how they warm up, make sure they keep their focus after their 35 pitches in the bullpen are done. He said that has been an issue for some for as long they've been rolling out baseballs and bats. And right now, it clearly is an issue for Marquez.
And for the Padres on the season, they're 12-1 if they score first. See how the numbers play out today.
Curveball's inside. 2-2. The Rockies overall have allowed 36 first-inning runs, Spilly, which is fourth most in Major League Baseball. 3-2. We spent a lot of time discussing that stat you just threw out. You know, the Rockies are 19-4 when they score first. Obviously, that's not going to happen today. And as you said, the Padres 12-1. It seems to be a really important statistic every year. Valega, did he get there? He barely did, in front of Cordero, who can fly. This is 2 games in a row where I think the Rockies forget that this big kid really runs well.
He does. 6'3" from Dominican, flies, and that's why the Padres like this kid so much, is because he's athletic. Said this last night, there is no reason for a baseball player to ever dive into first base. You're not faster. He may have beat him.
I do think, did you ever have that situation, Spilly, where you did it because you wanted to avoid a collision?
That's the only reason why you should do it. But I've dove into first base before. You just can't help it. You're trying to beat the pitcher. You're trying to beat the throw. And you want so badly to be safe that you just throw yourself at the bag.
You know, it's interesting. They didn't challenge that. And maybe because there was an out call and they figured it would have been too close to overturn. Glad they didn't. That's a strike, but that was really close. Quickly 2 strikes on Franmil Reyes. He's hitting .346 with 14 bombs down in El Paso. Got a curveball there. See if we see that split finger change. That curveball is bounced to short. Story will throw it across. In the inning, a base hit to Jankowski, and on the first pitch Eric Hosmer saw, he hit his 6th home run of the year. So the Rockies behind 2-0 going to the second. In your hometown Toyota stores. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees, that's transparency. With Ryan Spilborghs, I'm Drew Goodman from the finest city in America, as they say. San Diego, California. Padres 2-run home run from Hosmer. The Rockies were retired in order on 9 pitches by Jordan Lyles, and he had 2 strikeouts in the first. Here's Carlos Gonzalez with the shift on. He takes inside. We were here when Jordan Lyles faced the Rockies out of the bullpen, and one of the things I noticed, and he was successful that day against the Rockies earlier in the season, he seems to be pitching with greater tempo and more outward confidence.
It's always important. I mean, you can see it as a hitter when a pitcher has confidence when he's commanding the mound. There's usually a faster tempo. You like how they don't walk off the mound. They don't go to the rosin bag too often. They're not looking around. They're not changing signs.
Two balls and a strike on Cargo. And this ball is on the ground to first. 1 out. That'll bring up Trevor's story, folks. When the Rockies score 7 or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Get your Rockies taco special. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. Yesterday, Trevor Story went 0 for 5. But one of the interesting things about his 0 for 5, you never want to be 0 for 5, clearly. But there were no strikeouts involved. Just the 3rd time in his career that he had an 0 for 5 and didn't strike out. And again, not that you want to go for 0 for 5, but I look at that as a step in the right direction.
A couple good quality passes last night for Trevor where he just missed the baseball.
This is out of play.
Well, for Jordan, he's already quickly 0-2 on Trevor's story, and you can see it. To your point of having that outward confidence, well, the stuff is always played. We've always known he's had a great arm, and you have to remind yourself that Jordan Lyles is 27 years old. He's been in the big leagues for 6 years.
Yeah, he got to the big leagues quickly in Houston. Before Houston was Houston. When Houston was Houston.
Yeah, where they weren't good.
No, they were bad. They were winning losing 100+ games a year.
And I think that hurt Jordan Lyles being in that situation. You're 21 years old on a bad team. That's how you lose your confidence. Getting your teeth kicked in all the time on a major league ball field where you're supposed to have confidence and have some success and have some results.
No fun.
No.
And it hurts your development sometimes. And that's a really good curveball. 3rd strikeout for Lyles.
Mentioned earlier about his curveball. Darren Balsley wants that curveball to be more of a power curve. He does not want a big hump in it. He does not want it to fall into the strike zone. He wants it not to be a strike, look like a strike, and go straight to the dirt.
Pat Valaika pinch hit last night. Got to the ballpark literally less than a half hour before first pitch when DJ LeMahieu was placed on the disabled list. Fortunately, Albuquerque was in Las Vegas, and he got the pinch hit late and threw out a single to center field. So a new start in 2018 for Pat. So good a year ago. Villanueva throws him out. 6 up, 6 set down so far very quickly by Jordan Lyles. 2-0 on the Eric Hosmer home run for San Diego. Of the second inning, Rafi Lopez, the catcher, is going to lead it off for the Padres today and all season long on Tuesdays. It is Toyota Talk 25, the top 25 players in Rockies history. And today we're celebrating a real good friend of my partner's, Garrett Atkins. And Garrett's going to join us via phone shortly. But you guys can tweet questions at Garrett throughout the day, and he's going to answer as many of them as he can. First pitch misses, ball one on Lopez, native of Philadelphia. And he swings and misses there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rafi Lopez, big league time with the Cubs, Cincinnati, Toronto, and now San Diego. A baseball journey, man. Rafi Lopez could write a, maybe not a full-length book, but a short story about moving around in pursuit of baseball. He went to a junior college in Florida. He went up to Boston College. Then he transferred from Boston College to Florida State. He was ultimately drafted out of Florida State. And then mentioned just some of the organizations he's been in: Chicago, Cincinnati, Toronto. A lot of minor league stops now in the Padres organization. He's got 49 big league games under his belt, 534 minor league games. And folks, there are more stories like that than there are stories about the other way around.
There's a story what was it, 2 nights ago, where a pitcher 17 years in the minor leagues was finally able to make it to have his big league debut.
And the communication wasn't there between Dahl and Parra, and the ball drops between them. You can see them both kind of looking at one another. Nobody took charge, and it goes as a single for Lopez.
This is center fielder's ball, but you can understand David Dahl is playing right center, and so it falls in between the two of them. And this is first opportunity for all 3 guys to be in the outfield together between Cargo, Parra, and David Dahl, and that's just not understanding your teammates.
Villanueva bounces one through the right side. Cargo up with the baseball. Lopez, the catcher, is not going to try to go first to third, but there are 2 men on, nobody out. So Villanueva, who broke the 0 for 37 last night with a base hit, base hit through the right side. He's now 4 for his last 51 at the plate. And that'll bring up Freddie Galvis, who was the hitting star for the Padres yesterday, with a single, double, and triple. In fact, for Galvis, it's been a slow start offensively. You can see by the average at 237, but that's the first 3-hit game of the year for Freddie, and he plays every day. One ball, 1 strike. Padres limited to 8 hits last night. They already have 4 with nobody out in the second inning. Thought about a back pick. Sometimes where you pick them up, where you get the ball in the dirt, you pick it cleanly. As the runner reads dirt ball and takes maybe another aggressive bounce or 2 in his secondary lead toward the future bag, and sometimes that's where you'll see that back pick. And that's in the air toward Parra. He'll make the catch. 1 out with Lyles coming up. And hold on a second, because coming out to the mound, this is interesting. Buddy Black's coming out, and he wants the infield to come in. Talk about what will almost assuredly, well, you think he's going to bunt, but Jordan Lyles is a good athlete. I mean, you can see a slug bunt here, but this is Buddy coming out talking infield strategy.
You never know if they're going to try a wheel play or if they're going to just do a typical standard. If he bunts it, corners will crash. And to your point, Drew, Jordan Lyles in high school was the state leading receiver, better than A.J. Green, who ended up having a great career with the Cincinnati Bengals in his home state of South Carolina.
He had an opportunity to go to Columbia, the University of South Carolina, and be a two-way player. A two-sport player, I should say, football and baseball. So Lyles shows bunt early, pulls it back, pitch is high. Rockies initially defended that in a conventional manner. And Nolan holding his ground at third. Same thing here. That's going to give an opportunity for the Rockies to get two, and they will. Well done. Talked about the wet ground in front of the plate. Pouncing on it was Walters. He fired a strike to Nolan. Perfect throw back to first to Valaika. Go to the third, 2-0 Padres. He was an RBI machine. Hit 289 in the Rockies uniform, 98 home runs. Drove in just shy of 500 in 2006. He drove in 120, played a steady and reliable third base. And he has the distinction of being a very good friend of my partner, Ryan Spilborghs. Addy, we got you on the phone, man. How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. If we know you like we think we do, then you've probably already played a round of golf today. Are we accurate in that?
You are accurate. Went out and walked 18 with Jim Cobb today.
Had we 70 what?
76 today.
Oh, okay. Game's off a little bit then, huh?
Hey,
well,
Garrett,
it's early in the season, you know.
I got you.
You'll get better. Garrett, reflect on your career as a Rocky. What do you remember about it? What was your favorite aspect of playing in Colorado?
I mean, my favorite aspect was probably just the teammates and the friends. You know, we were kind of lucky, you know, looking back on it, that we kind of grew up in the minor league system together and all that stuff. And it was fun, you know, getting to know, playing with Holiday ever since A-Ball and Brad Hoff and Aaron Cook and all those guys. So it's just like going to work with your friends, and it's kind of a luxury, especially in the baseball business.
Did you realize early on, going back to the early, the low minor league days, that that all of you guys had special enough talent and work ethic and all the other qualities that you guys were going to get to the big leagues and have success? When did it kind of dawn on you that, man, this is a pretty special group?
I mean, I didn't really know kids coming in. I mean, you're just playing baseball and you're in A-ball, and like it seems like a miles away from the big leagues. You know that guys have talent. Obviously, you see a guy like Holiday and things he can do in BP, and but he's still only hitting 220, 250 in A-ball or whatever. So you're like, that's a long way off. But you see the talent there, and if the guy puts it all together, he's going to be a stud. And sure enough, that's what happened.
When you're watching the Rockies now, Gene, what is it about watching the team? Because I know you pay attention to baseball that you enjoy seeing it. Are there aspects of it that you understand what the guys are going through? Do you reach out to any of the players?
I haven't talked to too many of the guys. I just enjoy watching you guys, and it's kind of nice. The last couple of years, the Rockies had a good core group of players that's kind of easy to follow. So it just kind of seemed like when I first came up in 2005 and 03 and 04, it was a bunch of fill-in guys. So it's nice that they've got a good core of young players that should be good for years.
You were an outstanding hitter. Do you look, even though it's only a handful of years ago that you were playing, but when you look at the bullpens in particular and the velocity, has the game changed as you view it that much in such a short period of time?
I think so. I mean, I've watched some games this year. It seems like guys are maybe throwing a little less of the 93 to 95 mile-an-hour cutters that there seem to be the last couple of years. So that seems a little better. But yeah, I mean, it's a different game now with all those guys coming out of the bullpen throwing 100 and starters throwing 100 and all that, and all the shifts. That's kind of what I was talking who else and Trout playing golf together today, and I was saying, I remember when like Adam Kennedy was like the Cardinals like the first people to do the shift, and the guy right behind second base, and all of a sudden that stopped being a hit, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do now. If the line drive up the middle's not a hit, I got to go home.
Garrett, what was your favorite memory with the Rockies? Was it a home run that you hit in the World Series? Was it the 07 run? Was it just your time with your teammates? What was your favorite moment, if you have one?
I mean, there's quite a few. I mean, obviously the 07 run, just that feeling coming to the ballpark was great. But I mean, just the whole experience of playing with you guys and the fun we had, on and off the field, it's stuff you can't duplicate. And I mean, it's also fun. I mean, 5, 6, 8 years, you just pick up right where you left off.
Garrett Atkins is with us as we celebrate the all-time top 25 Rockies this year. And Garrett's going to be kind enough to stick around for another half inning. Jordan Lyles is rolling. 9 set down in a row to begin the ball game, 5 via strikeout.
All field hitter could get a base hit to right in a big spot. had some pull power, could get a ball in the right center field gap. But he was amongst that group that was, pretty formidable. When you talk about Spielborgs and Helton and Hop and Atkins and Tulowitzki, Torrey Alba.
Holiday, remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember that guy. I like that guy.
And what we edited the last part out in the interest of time, but Buddy went on to say, "Yeah, I like that guy Holiday," but he goes, still didn't touch home plate. Garrett Atkins is with us. Travis Jankowski is at the plate. He had a base hit in front of the Eric Hosmer home run in the first inning. It's impossible to talk to any of you guys that were big participants in that run in 07 and not ask for a reflection. When you look back on it, was there one game maybe that stood out more than others? I mean, there was the Helton, home run off Saito.
Yep.
That's kind of an obvious one. Hopper's home run here at Petco, and I didn't think King Kong could hit the ball out that night at midnight. What jumps into your mind, Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, all those do. I mean, there was a big win in San Diego, obviously, and probably one of the bigger things I remember is just being in the clubhouse there and watching Tony Gwynn Jr. get the hit or whatever. I mean, that was pretty exciting. Kind of gave us some life. So I mean, there's so many things in that 3-week stretch into the playoffs, and it's all very cool.
We're showing some highlights of you hitting the ball out of the ballpark, which you did quite a bit of. We're going to show your favorite highlights. There's two favorite Garrett Atkins highlights that I have personally. One we're going to get to in a moment. We'll keep a surprise. One I don't think we're going to show, so we're going to ask you to reflect on it. Hosmer with a base hit, and Jankowski's going to go first to third. And the Padres are in business again here in the third inning with Jose Perella coming up. Addy, remember that ball game? I know you do, where you had to play second base?
Of course.
And then you made a DJ LeMahieu-like play. Who was that against again?
Was there a double play? I don't really remember that.
Now, you had to go in the hole, though. He made a terrific play.
I had about 5 or 6 ground balls there. It's actually a lot easier at second base. The ball takes forever to get there, and short throw. It's much easier over there.
So you were miscast then as a third baseman then. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think I probably should have been a catcher, actually, but things turned out all right.
Did you ever catch at any point growing up?
Like Little League and stuff, just because I was the only one that could throw and actually not let everyone steal all over the place.
Garrett, as you're watching other third basemen play for the Rockies, and now you get to see number 28, Nolan Arenado, what do you think when you're watching him play the same position you did?
Well, he's playing a different position than I did. I mean, he's takes it to another level on defense. I mean, it's impressive to watch the plays that he makes look routine. And, I mean, you guys are more spoiled than anybody seeing it every night. But, I mean, he's got a chance he stays there to be the best Rocky of all time, which is saying something considering Todd had such a great career there.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Jose Perella at the plate, 2-0 count. All right, we're going to take you back. You got to take us through this. Remember this particular at bat?
This is the inside the park home run.
This is you motoring around the bases here at Petco.
Yeah, well, I think Felton broke his knee or something on that one, and the center fielder was just a little slow getting over and kind of turned the wheels on there, probably right around first base, and somehow made it in at home before the throw. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, more, of greater interest to us, not the inside the park home run per se, but the first comment you got from one of your teammates upon reaching the dugout. Do you recall?
I don't recall. I was probably out of breath and out of oxygen, so the brain probably wasn't functioning too well to remember too much.
Were you the least likely guy in the lineup that day, maybe other than the pitcher, to hit an inside the park home run?
I don't know about that, but I just saw the end of the clip. Looked like I popped up pretty quick after that slide at home, so I must not have been as tired as I remember. But I don't know. I'm probably faster than Yorvi. Torrealba or Ionetta.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw it yet. The guy who was on deck was Spilly, and then Jorvit was the first guy to greet you.
Well, Spilly was probably just jealous that I hit a homer, but there they go. He liked it. Look at that. I'm still running all the way back to the dugout.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you were ready for you were in better shape than you were giving yourself credit for, man.
I know. Well, I listened to you guys last year when you guys showed the clip. Made it sound like I was tired, but I looked ready to go there.
Garrett, I was still teasing back in 2008, and you remember this because you ended up the season with 99 RBIs, and I think you tried to drive in too low late in the season, and he refused to score because the Rockies were winning by a bunch. How much do you still text some of the guys and say, like, why didn't you score for me or anything like that?
Well, I think that was the fun part about that group is that you could kind of give each other a hard time. And if you're on second base, I mean, it kind of made you want to get a good read and a good jump, score for the guys that are hitting. And that's, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I think it's kind of special when you have a group like that where it's like, okay, I got to score. I'm going to hear it from everybody in the dugout, from the guy hitting, you know, and it makes the team better that way.
Speaking of 99, we have you for 100 home runs in your career. You got robbed on one, didn't you?
Well, it's 100 if you count the World Series homer too.
Yeah.
And there's two more that were one in Cincinnati and one at home that were over the fence before they had the replay. So you go 102 is fine.
We'll scratch that out. We'll put 102 next to your name in the home run category. This one, yeah, this is the one that they called a double.
Yeah, that was a homer.
Yeah, that just changes the history there. 'Cause then there's no Holiday or Jamie Carroll play to end the game.
Good point. Garrett, I've often used you as an example because I've shared the story about how I changed my batting stance after watching you hit in 2006. I used to rest my bat on my shoulder because of you. But you're also unique in that you played tennis growing up. How did playing tennis and all the different sports when you were growing up help you with your swing at the major league level?
I don't know how much it helped me with my swing. I mean, I grew up hitting tennis balls with a baseball bat, you know, so I think it kind of wanted my dad to be able to do it for a long period of time because it's easier to throw tennis balls than it is baseballs, than, 100 times to your kid. And, it's a little bit smaller and they don't quite go as far, so it's a little easier to shag all the balls. But, I mean, playing different sports, I think, I played all sorts of sports growing up, and that's what I'm going to do with my kids, and not going to specialize unless they get to an age where that's all they want to do. But I think having all the different sports with the footwork and different things like that can only help you in any sport you want to do.
Cordero fouls that back. You also, and this isn't unique, a lot of players go the college route, and some do not. Some sign right out of high school. We talked about Nolan earlier. Nolan was going to go to Arizona State. He signed right out of high school. That's turned out well. You went to UCLA, and I'm guessing, knowing you a little bit, that you're really glad that is how your journey went. First going to Westwood.
Yeah, definitely. I think my theory on signing out of high school is that unless they offer you some kind of life-changing amount of money, that experience. I mean, it was definitely a lot more fun being in Westwood and traveling to the Pac-12 schools than, being in the Sally League and riding on buses, So it's, my advice to the kid would be go to college and, you get good enough grades in high school that you can have quality choices to go play baseball at the next level.
Well, and you ended up finishing your degree, which is always impressive for guys because they get to go back. Marquez gets the strikeout of Franchi Cordero. But how important was it for you to finish when you were done with your baseball career to get that college degree?
It was real important. Growing up, education was always real important to my family. And, something I wanted to have for my kids one day. I can say what I important, and that's just getting that degree was a big step, and at least having something to put behind just words.
I've heard you say that, Garrett. Our Jeff Hewson. Huey went back after his career was done, finished at the University of Wyoming. It is important. And I think it's important also you pass that on, you know, that work ethic and to finish something that that you were able to pass on to your kids. So that's awesome.
Is Billy like 1 point short or something?
He's got to do a Spanish class.
Yeah.
And I'm a little upset with UCSB.
And I've taken that class multiple times. I'm not getting credit from the online courses.
You got to donate more to UCSB, man.
That's a good point. Not the occasional $100.
Yeah, I'm not attending their golf tournament every year.
That's true.
That's not a donation. Friend meal. It's a donation of golf balls.
Yeah.
0-2 on Franmil Reyes. Runner going, and with the 2-strike count, first and third situation, and great speed at third. Not that Tony would have had a play anyhow, but he would have let, in that situation, Hosmer go. So Hosmer will get credit for a stolen base. 1-2 count, a chance to get out of this if he can strike out the rookie Reyes, who's 6 at-bats into his big league career. Garrett will be taking your questions on Twitter throughout the afternoon as we celebrate Garrett Atkins, one of the top 25 Rockies of all time. 1-2, see you later. That's good pitching by Marquez. First and third, nobody out. And he worked out of it. It remains 2-0 as we go to the fourth. Hey, Addy, thanks much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And congrats again on a wonderful career, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
TG.
Challenge question for the day. Go to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote. Today's National Chocolate Chip Day. What day don't they have nationally these days? What's your best usage of the chip? How about eating it? David Dahl leads off, swings at the first pitch and skies it to Jankowski in center field. That's 10 in a row set down by Lyles to begin the day. Here's your choices. Chocolate chip cookies, chocolate chip ice cream, chocolate chip brownies, of which they had in the press room today. They were quite good.
They had him again?
They had them again. We can go get you one.
I'll be back.
Right, see you. Or right out of the bag. I used to do that when, as a kid, when my mom was making chocolate chip cookies. You just like jump in the bag, and then it affected the quality of the chocolate chip cookies because there weren't as many chocolate chips in the cookies because we had eaten so many of them already. First pitch strike on Gerardo Parra.
Well, how about Jordan Lyles today? 10 of 11 first pitch strikes to Rockies batters. This is not the Jordan Lyles that your father knew.
And this is rolled toward the middle of the diamond, and that is going to be 11 in a row. Good play over there by Freddie Galvis. And they're quick and efficient innings, as we say. And there's familiarity with Jordan Lyles, not only because a lot of these guys played behind Lyles, but they faced him. And yet he is dominating the Rockies so far. 34 pitches, and he's gotten 11 outs. He struck out Nolan on 4 pitches to end the first inning. 5 strikeouts. The Rockies struck out only 5 times yesterday, which was a vast improvement over striking out 15 in the ball game on Sunday. It is time now for AT&T Achieving More. So Nolan's reached in 24 straight games, and during that stretch he's hit .333 with 7 home runs and driven in 17. He has reached every single game since coming back from the suspension. We should have a bonus CenturyLink question today, Spilly, because I was just informed, you know, there's so many of these days, right, that you have to double up on some. So it's National Chocolate Chip Day. It's also National Dinosaur Day, which means it's usually bring your favorite dinosaur to school.
So your child brought you to school?
Yeah, but that was a few years ago. 6-pitch inning. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Rafi Lopez, the catcher, singled to left center field his first time up. So my partner scurried away in a frenzy as soon as we went to commercial break a moment ago. He has returned, but he's not returned empty-handed. Here's the 1-0. And that's fouled off.
Well, if it's a national holiday, you have to bring, here's the brownies with chocolate chips in it.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm voting C today on the CenturyLink.
Those are really good.
They're awesome.
Yeah. Curveball for a strike. And that is 3 strikeouts in a row. The only 3 strikeouts for Marquez. What's going on? Did he throw it around?
Everybody's trying to figure out how many strikes are they playing today.
I thought,
it's
you know, that's what confused me. I thought that made it 1 and 2. That it is 1 and 2. I'm just following Tony's lead. So I guess that is not a strikeout.
Not yet.
So we're talking about Garrett Atkins, talking to Garrett Atkins as well last inning. Do you have a favorite Addy story?
I have a lot of great Addy stories. I think one of the best parts about Garrett was that he was reliable. He was very routine oriented with how he hit. You knew what he was going to eat. And there's comfort in those friends where you know exactly what you're going to get. And that was what the Rockies had. Day in, day out, took a quality at bat. There's an inside-out swinger. Could pop a home run, to your point. Very dependable if the ball is hit to him. Great sense of humor. Very dry.
Sneaky funny, right?
Very, very funny. Very funny.
Stop trying to get me out of the house. ... honey.
Garrett and his wife, Danny. It's a great family. We're down in the Castle Pines area, and you can find Garrett on many golf courses.
Hey, do you know what I find neat about your class? You and Sully and Addie, for a great group of guys. But baseball players tend to live in Florida or Arizona so they can train all year round and be near, a lot of times, a lot of Rockies live now in the Scottsdale area so they can be near the facility in the off season. Salt River Fields, why not? It's beautiful. Not many folks live year-round in Denver, but you guys chose to, you and Stacy chose to raise your family in Denver. Sully is raising his family in the in the Denver area. Addie moved back here after moving initially back to the West Coast where he's from, but now he's back here with his family. I think it's pretty neat.
For Garrett used to come out to Colorado when he was a kid. His family would often go skiing up in Beaver Creek and Vail area, and he always had a love for Colorado, always had a love for golf, and living in California where he was at, in Newport Beach, Irvine area, he just felt like he wanted to get back to Colorado and enjoyed it.
Good decision. Freddie Galvis takes a strike, 1-1. 2 outs in the fourth. 2-run home run to begin the day for the Padres against Marquez. And this is at Para, and it's a good inning for Herman. Rockies got to figure out Jordan Lyles. We're in the 5th inning already. The Rockies haven't touched first base.
Spend Memorial Day weekend at the ballpark and catch the Rockies versus the Reds and the Giants. Get your tickets at Rockies.com. You mentioned earlier about Jordan Lyles when he first came up to the big leagues with the Houston Astros, and how, as a 21-year-old, maybe it stunted his growth being with a team that at the time was the worst team in baseball. Between 2011 and 2013, when Lyles spent 3 years with the Houston Astros, the Astros did not win more than 56 games in a year. They lost well over 100 for 3 straight years.
Yeah, I would think as a young player that could affect you adversely. Cargo will lead it off in the 5th inning. He had a ground ball to first to lead off the 2nd inning. 12 in a row set down to begin today by Jordan Lyles. I wonder how deep Lyles can go. This is just his 2nd start. He was working out of the bullpen as a semi-long guy.
He's at 38 pitches.
Right, he could probably go a long time since he's averaging about, 7 pitches an inning. He's got a live fastball, and he's ahead of everybody, 0-2. Been a tough May so far for Cargo, just 4 hits and 25 at bats. Rockies' offense has been most perplexing so far. Got the good offense yesterday, 11 hits, 3 home runs, put a 6th spot up here at Petco.
We get that. Against lefties, the Rockies are 12th in baseball batting average, 254. It's right-handers. They're hitting 220 as a unit. 29th worst in baseball.
2-2.
And I said this last night. I expect the Rockies to hit, but I don't expect them to be the 2nd best average hitting team in baseball by the end of the year. Cargo goes down swinging.
6 strikeouts for Lyles, 13 in a row. Trevor Story will come up. This is what the title of the graphic says, huh? Folks, since the start of 2017, the Rockies have played better baseball on the road than they have at Coors Field. Over 200 games played, and they've been better away from 20th and Blake. Who in the world would have ever thought that for? Now we're talking about a 20-game period where, okay, you know what, 5-5 at home, but they're 7-3 on the road. That happens. We're talking about 200+ baseball games.
Well, it just goes to show what kind of offense that the Rockies have. It's a home run driven offense, and the only way that works is you have to have good starting pitching and you have to have a good bullpen. That's what the Rockies have had for the last 2 years.
I give Buddy Black a lot of credit too, because, and this is organization wide, but Buddy has never once mentioned a road philosophy versus a home philosophy, a road approach versus a home approach, because of the altitude, the fact that the home ballpark is so large. It's we're going to play to our standard, and that's all that's important. Story goes down. 7 strikeouts. 7 of the 14 hitters he has faced have struck out, and Jordan Lyles now faces Pat Valleca, perfect with 2 outs in the 5th inning. I know Rockies fans are probably saying, where was this when Jordan wore a Rockies uniform?
Pretty liberal strike zone on that last pitch on the Subaru strike zone.
1-1. I remember Steve Foster hoping and believing that when he first got to work with Lyles, he saw some similarities to Wade Davis when he worked with him in Kansas City after Wade was a starting pitcher in Tampa's organization and had struggled. And then he comes to Kansas City and they make him a 1-inning guy. And he was hoping that Lyles could be that type of story. It obviously didn't happen for Jordan in Denver, and now he's on to San Diego, and he went to the pen initially with the Padres, and now he's back as a starting pitcher, at least for 2 starts. He's going to get a 3rd start after this one, I can guarantee you that. Two, 3-2 on Valleca. I think, is this the first 3-ball count? Maybe. Yep. Just 51 pitches in the 5th.
For his career, Jordan Lyles as a starter, 108 starts, 25 and 43, 5.29 ERA. But back to the point, I think a lot of those starts came in a time frame where Jordan Lyles isn't what we're seeing right now. It's a completely different pitcher.
Yeah, he seems to be a different pitcher.
Just stuff-wise, what he's using. I mean, it's four-seam fastball. It's not the cutter sinker that he was attempting to use in Colorado. It's not the slider as his best secondary pitch. It's the power curve.
And not playable.
We're also noticing today he's using his four-seam fastball above the belt, and that's a trend in baseball. A lot more pitchers, because hitters have trained their swing to sinker ball pitchers to try to get underneath the baseball, create that launch angle, which is, it's still a load of baloney. Launch angle is a byproduct of a pitch up in the strike zone that you can handle. It's not just swinging underneath the baseball.
Another 3-2. And on the ground to third, Villanueva. 15 in a row to begin the ball game, set down by Jordan Lyles, 2-0 San Diego.
Of the fifth inning, MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details.
So here's Jordan Lyles leading off in the bottom of the fifth inning, and Lyles takes a strike. He bunted into a 2-5-3 double play that ended a threat in the second inning. Last inning was the first 1-2-3 inning for Herman today. And
heads up.
That was that split change, I believe.
The grip that Jordan Lyles was holding the bat with?
No, that was the loose grip that Jordan Lyles had on the bat, but that was the splitter, I believe, from Marquez. Broke out a couple starts ago. Two runs, 5 hits, no errors for San Diego, nothing across for the Rockies. Marquez thought he had the strikeout.
So did Tony Wolters.
So did the Subaru strike zone.
No, it only matters to one person.
Two and two. Marquez 77 pitches in. Straight four-seamer there, strikes out the pitcher Lyles. Fourth strikeout for Marquez. Travis Jankowski will be coming up, and we have some news from around baseball. This is disturbing news. Robinson Cano made news the other day because he broke his thumb. He's going to be out a while. Well, today word came down that Robbie Cano will be suspended 80 games for violating Major League Baseball's drug policy. There was a masking agent for PEDs found in his system. And I mean, this has obviously huge effects on the Mariners this year. I mean, he's going to be out for a little bit with that hand, and now he's going to be out half a season. It also has long-term ramifications on a guy who's put together a borderline Hall of Fame, or maybe not even borderline, Hall of Fame resume. And now it is tainted.
It is. And Robinson Cano had a statement today saying that he had a medical condition, and he had a doctor prescribe medicine for him in Dominican Republic.
Jankowski with a line drive to center. Dahl overruns it for a moment, but Jankowski will stay at first. He's now 2 for 2 and a walk, so he's been on base all 3 times in this baseball game.
For David Dahl, low sinking line drive, very difficult for a center fielder to make a decision. You don't want to dive on a baseball like that, especially with Jankowski, the type of runner that he is.
Eric Hosmer coming up, 2-run home run and a single. These two guys have been on 5 times out of 5 plate appearances so far. Jankowski takes off, throw to second, is going to scoot into center field, and Jankowski won't move up, as there was probably not the chance to, as that ball shot through so quickly to David Dahl.
And this is on the pitcher. This is on Herman. High leg kick with a very speedy runner. 4th stolen base for Jankowski on the season. Not a lot to work with for Tony, especially with an off-speed pitch. You gotta be careful Jankowski doesn't try to take third too. If you're gonna go high leg kick, slow move towards the plate, Jankowski might take a shot. That's why Trevor Story's playing directly behind him.
You know, we've heard this so many times in the past, Spilly, that it's very easy to roll your eyes at the defense that some of these guys have. I didn't realize, or it was a prescription for something else. Major League Baseball, you played a long time. It's pretty darn clear. And if you're not sure what is in something, you can send it in. This is on the ground a second. You can send it in and have it checked out before you put it in your body. You can explain better than I can. There's so many parachutes there to make sure an athlete does not put something in their body that's illegal.
And this happened in the winter. So Major League Baseball has been sitting on this for a couple months. And it's not a knee-jerk reaction from Major League Baseball. They get the positive test, and it was a positive test, to your point, for the masking agent. But they're baseball saying, why are you masking anything? And if all it does, every Major League player has a direct contact to a trainer on a Major League team. And they can just ask him, hey, this is what I'm thinking of taking, this is why. There's no excuse at this point.
No.
There is none.
And the commissioner has said as such, and good for him. If you get dinged, there was a reason.
And there was a period of time for Major League Baseball where players were going to a local GNC or to wherever you buy supplements, and you could buy something over the counter and a guy would get popped. And we're past that now. You understand that this game is very careful about what players are putting in their body. They want an even playing field. They want a level playing field.
And Marquez strikes out Perella, and Jankowski's left at third. So Marquez kind of hitting his stride on the mound. The Rockies got to help him out on offense. They're without a hit. bat behind Tony Walters this inning, but we're showing Daniel right now because he's part of our Mako big hit. A couple of home runs a couple years ago with the Atlanta Braves. That's his first in a Rockies uniform. Rockies hit 3 last night. Cuevas got the first of his career. Parra hit a 3-run shot to break up a 3-3 tie. Rockies went on to win 6-4. Tony Walters at the second baseman, Perella. Now with 1 out in the 6th inning, Lyles remains perfect. This is remarkable. Players hitting their first home run with the Rockies in the same game. It's happened 5 times. This is not their first career home run. It was for Cuevas, but first Rockies home run. Kevin Millwood, the former Brave pitcher, and the baby bull, Willeen Rosario, Mark Ellis, and Charlie Blackmon. Interesting combination there. Melvin Mora and Big Brad Eldred, who you informed me today is still playing over in Japan.
Still playing in Japan.
And Omar Quintanilla and Scott Podsednik. Well, there's Cuevas. Going to hit for Marquez, it looks like. Yeah, this is one of those games where, yeah, you've been dominated, clearly, when you don't have a base runner with 1 out in the 6th inning. But you're a bloop and a blast from tying this thing up.
Which is crazy.
1-2. Lyles is pounding the zone. And he's had a sharp breaking ball as well. He has struck out 7. And now he struck out 8. This is utter domination.
It's like Max Scherzer's on the mound.
So Cuevas will pinch hit, and our Coors Light refreshing finish. Last night, Cuevas got the bat head out, and he started tearing around the base because this was a line drive, but it stayed up long enough to clear the fence for no out.
George has been living on the outside edge of the super strike zone.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all here, and this is going to be another easy play. But we never saw anything like this. He is perfect for 6 innings. And I mean, it is quick. Put it up as Padres. On AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. By Subaru, love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Padres leading 2-0. That's not the story. That man's the story. Jordan Lyles has thrown 62 pitches through 6 innings. He has not allowed a base runner. Heck, the only ball to the outfield was David Dahl's pop-up to shallow center. He has struck out 8. And again, I say this not to be disrespectful, but he does not resemble much of what we saw in his time with Colorado. He struggled with command. He gave up a lot of hits. He gave up home runs. He struggled, I think, sometimes with confidence out there. It was noticeable that he was battling confidence issues. Not today. Chris Russin is in the ball game now. Franchi Cordero is in a ditch 1 and 2. It's Cordero, Reyes, and Rafi Lopez. And that is pulled foul. Cargo's going to be a good egg and go track that baseball down on the warning track and flip it into the crowd. Chris will wait till his right fielder's ready, or will he?
No.
You know, he didn't. I don't think he realized that. He just threw that baseball, and Cargo was like 2 steps off the warning track, still coming in. Cargo is helping out the ball boy because the ball shot down the line, and you know, usually you'll let the ball boy go get it. Cargo ran out there to the warning track and then flipped it over the fence to a fan. He was, you know, coming back to his position, and Chris didn't realize it. No harm done as the ball wasn't put in play. This is Reyes, 0 for 2. 0 for 4 last night in his major league debut. Chris Russin trying to get himself in a good spot on the hill.
Well, he was in a good spot prior to going on the disabled list. He was just starting to find his groove, and since coming back, he quite found it.
There's the first major league hit for Franmil Reyes. And Skip Schumacher, your old buddy from UCSB, gives him a big pat on the back. We get the baseball for him, the crowd standing and acknowledging this special moment. And we've been told that that's part of his family right there.
That's great.
That's good. They're going to bring him out too. Because bottom of the 6th inning, get a pinch runner.
.5 Dominican, 275 pounds, known for power. It's a ball off the end of the bat for his first major league hit, right up the middle.
Manuel Margot is in running for him. Rafi Lopez at the plate.
I guarantee you, nobody's happier for Franmil than one of his best friends, Franchi Cordero. Both grew up together in Dominican, signed at 16 years old, gone through the ranks.
Looked like he went. Larry Vanover agrees.
Lopez is saying that ball hit him.
Doesn't matter now. I think many of you know at home, but if you swing at a pitch and it hits you, it's a strike, not a hit by pitch. We saw one, Spilly, was it last year? It happened in the last year or two. I think it was last year, where, if memory is treating me well today, it was Tony Walters. He swung at a pitch and it squared him up in the chest.
I've seen that before.
He opened up so early.
You're either not seeing pitch, or it's for a right-hander, it's a right-on-right with a sinker baller. For a lefty, it could be a right-hand cutter in.
It's like double bad news. You have baseball seams on your chest, and the umpire saying, "Come back here, son."
Insult to injury. Yep.
That's a strike. You hacked at it. 2-2 on the catcher, Lopez. Parra's got it, 2 outs.
Let Coors Field be the backdrop for your next game day or non-game day meeting or special event. Groups of 15 to 200 will enjoy great views of the city as well as the field from this unique venue.
Christian Villanueva, base hit in the second, a strikeout in the fourth. Line on Marquez, 5 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. 2 runs came, 2 hitters into the game. Base hit, home run. Dealt with some traffic in the second and third. Was much better in the fourth and fifth. Villanueva's hit more home runs than any rookie in the National League. 8 of the 9. That's number 10. Well, 8 of the 10 came in the month of April. Now it's 4-0.
Down and in for Villanueva is his zone. He does not miss in that spot, in that location, and does damage. After breaking the 0-for streak last night, he knew he'd start to get some confidence. Had a hit opposite field earlier in the game, and there's his spot. He knew it.
He was 0 for 37 before getting a base hit last night, and that probably seems like a distant memory for him. What the game does makes you feel like one day, can I even play anymore? Makes you sick to your stomach, and now he's on top of the world. 2-run home run. Freddie Galvis, 2 fly balls to left. Now Villanueva has hit 9 of his 10 home runs against lefties, which is 4 more than anybody else in the National League. Story, Chris Bryant, Evan Longoria, A.J. Pollock, Ozzie Albies, they've all hit 5. Albies hit his 12th yesterday. One and 2 on Galvis.
It was strange for Chris Russin, especially last year. He was considered one of the best relievers in baseball. This year, he's given up a run in 8 of his 12 appearances.
He'll get it straightened out, but it's been rough right now. He's given up 4 home runs in 20 innings. Line drive, Nolan caught it in the air. Now the Rockies will go up to the plate in the 7th inning looking for their first base runner, and the deficit is now 4 runs. Well, when a guy's throwing a perfect game through 6, you tip your cap. Jordan Lyles, 8 strikeouts, and he's throwing amazingly only 62 pitches. 2011 through 2013 with Houston, came to the Rockies in that offseason. 14, 15, 16, 17, up and down between the Rockies and initially Colorado Springs and then Albuquerque once the Rockies moved their AAA affiliation. Here's David Dahl, a strikeout and a fly ball to center, and there's strike 1. And 0-2. It's been the story all day for everyone that's carried a bat to the plate. Jankowski moves from center to right. Margot, who pinch ran in center field. Well, David Dahl broke up a no-hitter on Sunday.
But I want you to remember back that start for the Milwaukee Brewers. It was a rookie, 13 punch-outs. It's been a very difficult stretch for the Rockies against right-handed starters.
Freddie Peralta had a no-hitter into the 6th inning with 1 out. Dahl broke it up with a sharp single to center. Peralta would get 1 more out in the game. Ended up with 1 hit over 5 2/3, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts, as Billy mentioned. The longest no-hit bid for Lyles prior to today, 2 occasions he had a no-hitter through 4. Once in a Rockies, once in a Rockies uniform, and then way back in his rookie year with the with the Astros against the Nationals. Now let me correct that. It was last year for the Padres against the Rockies, and he just struck out Dahl. Tell you where this gets a little nerve-wracking now, Spilly, and I don't know if any point in time in your career, a little more so for the guys on the dirt, the infielders, the catcher especially, where you were involved in a perfect game, because that involves the fielders obviously as well.
And that's why the Padres made some adjustments to their defense. You got Reyes out of right field. You put Jankowski, a very good defensive right fielder, out there. Put Manny Margot now in center. Very good defensive center fielder.
Ball 1 on Parra. A pop out and a ground ball to short. And this is a fly ball right at the left fielder, Cordero. 2 outs in the 7th inning.
Get on-demand access to the rooftop with the Rooftop Ballpark Pass. Choose the days and redeem your pass from your phone. Go to Rockies.com/pass for more information.
Nolan steps up. He struck out on a breaking ball off the plate in the 1st and a ground ball in the 4th inning right at Christian Villanueva, the 3rd baseman.
And then looking ahead for the Rockies over the next 2 innings, if you're looking for an opportunity to use Charlie Blackmon. Charlie with the day off. He wouldn't come until the last out of the 9th inning.
And this is a ground ball to Villanueva, and he is perfect through 7 innings. Who would have thought this? For a team that is the only franchise without a no-hitter. In second inning of work, and Jordan Lyles takes outside ball one. Lyles, Jankowski, and Hosmer. I wonder what's running through his mind right now. I'm sure nobody's conversed with him in a couple of innings. And this is to short. Story's got it.
The first 15,000 fans through the gates for the Rockies versus Reds game on May 26th will receive a 25th anniversary season all-time 25 roster t-shirt, courtesy of 106.7 The Bull. That's
Padres came aboard in 1969. They're the only team of the 30 in Major League Baseball to have not thrown a no-hitter, which is somewhat surprising given the fact they've had a number of quality arms through the years, and they've pitched, especially since they came to Petco, in a real pitcher's ballpark. 2 outs as Jankowski's finally retired, and that'll bring up Eric Hosmer. They have 28 one-hitters. The Mets went forever, which was inexplicable with all the great pitchers they've had, without a no-hitter, and they finally got one when Johan Santana several years back threw one. In 1970, Clay Kirby, who was a high-quality pitcher, went 8 1/3 and then got lifted for a pinch hitter. Excuse me, he went 8, got lifted for a pinch hitter, and the reliever gave up a hit in the 9th inning. And back then, you wonder why, they didn't pay attention to pitch counts.
Nope.
Wonder why he got lifted.
I remember there's a combined no-hitter that Babe Ruth was a part of, where he was ejected in the first inning for punching the umpire, the first batter.
Not allowed to do that.
You're not?
No. Frowned upon. 3-0 on Hosmer. Takes a vicious swing, 3-1. Yeah, Jordan with the Rockies, his first year, he made 22 starts, went 7-4 with a 4.33 ERA. That's a foul ball. His next year, he made 10 starts. He's injured, went 2-5 with a 5.14 ERA. 2016, 5 starts, 35 out of the bullpen. He had a 5.83 ERA. And then last year, 33 out of the bullpen, had an ERA of almost 7. Russin gets the strikeout, and we'll go to the top of the 8th inning, where Jordan Lyles has been perfect. Cargo will lead it off, trying to break it up. The Rockies trying to break up the perfect game in the 8th inning. They'll send up Carlos Gonzalez, Trevor Story, and Pat Vallejo. Who wants tacos? Fans, follow us at AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies Taco Special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. Jordan Lyles has struck out 9 Rockies today on a perfect sunny afternoon here in San Diego. Cargo, ground out, strikeout. 3 on the right side. And he chases a curveball. You have all kinds of theories when a guy is this dominant. 2 days ago, with a guy they had not seen in Freddie Peralta, you're saying, well, just not picking up the baseball, don't see the cut on it. 0-2. What do you think the situation is today? Because there is familiarity with Jordan Lyles. This is a guy they know.
They know him because of the name, and they see him physically. It's the same guy, but he's not pitching like the same guy. It's a different repertoire. He's using his four-seam fastball more, the cutter off of it, and the pitch has been the power curveball. Pounding the strike zone, efficient, working fast. He's on the same page with Rafi Lopez behind the plate. I mean, there's small adjustments that Jordan has made over the last couple of years, and it's all coming together in this one game.
2-2.
And the way he's hopping off the mound, he's sensing it. He's feeling it.
You know, his other start a few days ago came against the Cardinals. He was good in that start. 5 innings, 5 hits, just 1 run, struck out 6, walked 1. But nothing like this. And he has a strikeout of Cargo. 10 strikeouts. 1 out in the 8th inning. He has retired the first 22 here at Petco.
Power curveball. There's no hump in that pitch. It starts about belt high, and it just bottoms, falls out of it.
He's at 77 pitches. That's amazing also. His season high is 81. Story gets a good swing off, but he fouls it straight back. Oh, 1 line drive, base hit to left, Trevor Story. So Story breaks up the perfect game with 1 out in the 8th. No chance in left field for Cordero.
It's one of the few times that Jordan Lyles shook off Lopez. Wanted to go to the power curveball and left it up.
There have been only 23 perfect games in the history of Major League Baseball. And Jordan Lyles retired the first 22 Rockies today, 10 via strikeout. And then a clean base hit to left from Trevor Story. That'll bring up Pat Vallejo. And that's fouled off. The Padres will continue on their journey looking for their first no-hitter.
There's already been 3 no-hitters thrown in Major League Baseball this season.
Kirby Yates now gets up in the Padres bullpen. Blake has hit it on the ground twice to third. look at the history of the perfect game in baseball, there are some journeymen among the men that have thrown a perfect game, including the last two. Remember Philip Umber threw a perfect game? It was the only complete game of a rather nondescript career. And Dallas Braden,
Mother's Day.
on Mother's Day, he's now in broadcasting, Dallas character. He threw one for the A's. He had to retire because of a shoulder injury, and when he did, he had a career record of 26 and 36. But he had that one day in the sunshine.
And that story is a great story too for Dallas Braden. Dallas Braden lost his mother, and he was basically raised by his grandmother, and that to throw a perfect game on Mother's Day, the reaction as he's looking up to the sky, it says it all.
Story takes off. That's ball 4, and now you wonder if Andy Green will go out and pat him on the back and say, man, that was one heck of an effort.
I'm assuming he's going to.
Yeah. So the Rockies now can go about the business of trying to get back in this game, maybe really shock the Padres late. And another standing ovation for Jordan Lyles. Well deserved. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Now, Jordan Lyles today retired the first 22 hitters of the game before the line single off the end of the bat to left field that broke it up from Trevor Story. Here it is, slider away, and Trevor lined it to left field. Within 5 outs of a perfect game. Padres' longest perfect game bids. Chris Young in Milwaukee went 7 2/3. Bob Ochenko back in '77 also went 7 1/3. Jordan Lyles making just his second start of the year. Former starter, became a reliever. Started this year in the pen. Kirby Yates has been outstanding for the Padres. League hitting just 167 against him. He'll face Tony Walters with 2 on and 1 out. Tony hasn't hit a home run in a couple days. He's due.
And for Kirby Yates, he may be pitching a little bit with a heavy heart from Kauai, Hawaii. Last night there was quite a bit of rainfall, about 24 hours worth, and it devastated his hometown. And so he started a fundraiser today, try to raise some funds.
There's some issues going on over in the islands. Volcano on the Big Island. The rainfall in the garden, on the Garden Island of Kauai. 2-0 on Tony Walters. Stories at second, Valake at first. The inning began with Lyle striking out Cargo for his 10th strikeout. Yates taking a lot of time.
Let's go, Yates. Come on, bud.
1-2, or excuse me, 2-2. Rockies began the day just a game and a half out of first. Arizona's taken on water lately. They've lost 6 consecutive games.
And they got some bad news yesterday, just like the Rockies did with DJ LeMahieu having a thumb injury. A.J. Pollock dove awkwardly in center field, and he's going through some protocol looking to see what kind of injury he has to his thumb. So he has a thumb sprain as well.
And the update we have on DJ LeMahieu is not much, in that he's going to see a second hand specialist today. That was this morning. And Buddy said he probably won't have a good idea of what they're looking at with DJ for a day or two. Yates strikes out Tony Walters, 2 outs, and that'll bring up, well, Castro's heading back to the dugout. And the Rockies are going to go to the bench here, and it'll be Chuck Nasty. So Buddy's going to play the Blackman card here. Charlie being given the initial part of the day off. Grinds every day, and managers will do this with their everyday guys, their superstars, where you have a day off, a day game before, so you give them more than 48 hours off their feet. And now Andy Green's going to counter. He'll bring in a lefty. So Yates gets Walters, and then he hands the baseball to his manager. 4-0 San Diego with 2 outs in the 8th. For the Padres, Brad Hand. Here's the series probables in San Francisco. Chad Bettis will open up the series for the Rockies, and he'll be opposed by Jeff Samardzija. Kyle Freeland, he's pitching well. He'll go Friday night against Derek Holland. John Gray Saturday afternoon against Chris Stratton. And then it'll be Tyler Anderson on Sunday against Regis High School's Ty Block. Rockies 8-6 inside the NL West, and they're going to be playing a lot of baseball inside the division over the next couple of weeks. See if Charlie can get a big hit here. He's 2 for 15 lifetime against the guy with the good fastball slider combination, Brad Hand, all-star a year ago.
Hand has a fantastic slider, and on the season has not yet given up an inherited runner. Allowed one to score, 0 for 7 on the season. Fastball about 93 miles an hour. But he'll throw slider after slider after slider if he has to.
Well, especially left on left. That was more of a curveball by shape. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Pitch usage against lefties, 37% of the time he'll throw fastball. 63% of the time slider. So you know Charlie knows these numbers. So he's sitting off speed as well.
Charlie got the fastball, fouled it off, 1-2. Story, who broke up the perfect game, is at second. Valek at first. 2 outs in the 8th.
This is Blackman's 16th at bat against Brad Hand. 2 hits against him.
Did he hold up? Yep.
It's always funny when you point out these numbers, Drew. When you're looking at 16 at bats against a closer type, it's such a small sample size. Does that mean that he's not picking up the baseball? Maybe there's been some lineouts. There's not a lot of strikeouts in those at bats.
Yeah, sometimes you truly don't know. May not have the results, but the process may be really good. Now 3-2. Rockies will go to Ian Desmond if Charlie can reach. Charlie's pinch hitting for Castro here in the 8th spot in the lineup. Desmond will be in the game either way. Next inning, Valek will go to second. 3-2. Ball 4. Well, here's the Rockies' opportunity. Bases loaded. And Desmond will come up against Brad Hand. And as tough a season as it has been for Ian Desmond, the splits are noticeable. He's been much better against lefties.
.226 average on the year against lefties for Ian. 3 of his homers have come against lefties. He's also faced Brad Hand 21 times, has 5 hits, 7 walks.
And he hits well here. Strike one. Chase the pitch out of the zone. He's got 5 home runs at Petco Park since joining the Rockies. One and one. Talk about deliberate, man. Brad Hand took forever to deliver that baseball. Desmond also has a home run in Denver against Padres pitching since joining Colorado. So 6 home runs, 22 driven in against San Diego since putting on purple. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is line to center field's got to get down. It will not. Margot closed the gap and makes the catch. And that will end the Rockies' threat. They break up the perfect game with the Story hit. 4-0 San Diego. And a big thank you to Garrett Atkins. Congratulations to Garrett as well, making our top 25 all-time Rockies list. We do it every Tuesday, and we also reveal for you the next on the list. Number 19, Aaron Cook. What a remarkable career Cook he had, throwing the baseball for the Rockies with his super sinker. 2002 to 2011, second winningest pitcher in Rockies history at 72 and 68. Very reliable, and we'll visit with Cookie next week.
I used to tease Aaron Cook that he could actually make a fish sink. That's how good his sinker ball was.
Remember when he was in Double-A, he threw in the high 90s.
And don't forget, Aaron Cook had that health scare with the blood clot. There's an opportunity that there's a chance that he was never going to pitch again.
Mike Dunn takes over, 14th appearance. Jose Perez at the plate. Rockies have a new right side of the infield. Ian Desmond is in the ball game at first base. Pat Valleca, who is playing first, got a different glove. Something in the 11.5-inch family, and is at second base. Desi hit that ball hard, but unfortunately it didn't get down in front of Margot. 3-1 on Perella. 0 for 3 in the ball game. Herman Marquez started for the Rockies, gave up a 2-run home run, 2 hitters in to Eric Hosmer. Those are the only runs he would give up. Dealt with a little traffic though in the second and third. Settled in over the next 2. 5 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts. And it's been an issue for Mike Dunn. He's walked guys. He walks Perella here leading off. That'll bring up Franchi Cordero. Popped up, foul ground. Nolan's going to have a play. Yeah, thinking back, I'm trying to remember no-hitters, perfect games. The longest anybody had thrown a perfect game against the Rockies, all out on the road. Probably not a surprise. Today, Jordan Lyles. Madison Bumgarner was perfect for 7 innings in San Francisco one day. Kershaw for 6, and ultimately what became a no-hitter. Tom Glavine, I want to say, took his no-hitter into the 9th inning, and Kit Pello broke it up with an opposite field double off the wall. Remember Kit Pello?
Yeah, I do remember Kit Pello. He was number 19 before I received number 19.
Manuel Margot at the plate.
Going back to Clayton Kershaw in that start in June 2014, the perfect game was broken up by a routine ground ball to Hanley Ramirez. Remember that?
Yes.
Ramirez was hit by a pitch earlier in the game and just airmailed the ball to first.
That's where you wonder underneath privately, is the guy hoping that somebody gets a hit?
Oh, so he's not the
So he's not the difference between a perfect game and a no-hitter.
There's an argument if Hanley makes that play clean, is that the greatest pitching performance of all time?
Bill James.
The game score.
The game score, it's up there. I'll tell you something though, what we witnessed today, that was remarkably dominant and efficient. There weren't 3 ball counts, there are 10 strikeouts of the 22 in a row that Lyles retired. There was 1 ball to the outfield, right? Maybe 2 balls to the outfield. That was, you know, and I'm trying to remember back 4 years ago, and Kershaw was unhittable that day, literally and figuratively. I mean, just the
I think he
stuff.
had 14 strikeouts, no walks for
But you think about it, Lyles.
He's on pace?
It was right there.
That's crazy.
1 and 2.
But you're right. Got him. Dunn just picked off Perella at first. Perella didn't even dive back to the bag. He tried to hop in. Check out the reaction of Skip Schumacher, first base coach for the Padres. Just basically a snap throw. The Subaru Supermo, take a look at it. Snap throw.
Two outs. Margot at the plate with a 1 and 2 count. And he pops him up. Parra in left field. Wind's blowing this back toward the infield, makes the catch. So we'll go to the top of the 9th inning. The Rockies down 4-0. Performance. They had been one hit. They were without a base runner for 7 1/3 by former Rocky Jordan Lyles today. Coming up next, the Toyota postgame show from here in San Diego. The Rockies will try to rally against Brad Hand, who's been asked to get the final 4 outs. He got the final out of the 8th inning after walking Blackman. Desmond lined out. It'll be the top of the Rockies order. David Dahl, Gerardo Parra, and Nolan Arenado. Dahl today 0 for 3, a pair of strikeouts. Today is game 2 of a 9-game road trip. Back-to-back 10-day, 9-game road trips for the Rockies. Road-heavy schedule the first couple of months, which means in the summer they'll be home more than they'll be on the road. That's good news. Trying to find a level of consistency with that offense, though. That's going to be priority number 1 going forward, you would think.
It's got to be.
This ball's well hit to center field. Margot going back will make the catch on the track.
It's a great jump by Margot in center field. Very quick, very efficient with the route straight back. It's oftentimes one of the more difficult plays for a center fielder is tracking a baseball straight back. Dahl squares a left on left. He's been taking good quality at bats against lefties.
He'd been 3 for his last 3 against lefties till that loud out. Parra pop out, a ground out, and a fly ball to left field.
And going to some of the offensive identity, the Rockies, we know the struggles, and I think for me, looking at some of the players on the roster, is there's opportunities to take a spot and run with it. If you find your stroke, find it quick, because you'll get an opportunity to play.
Well, in the 2 corner spots in the outfield, Buddy basically is given 4 guys an opportunity to do exactly what you're describing. Run with it. Parra lately has. You know, Dahl has hit some balls hard. Cargo's got to get going. He knows that. Cuevas is playing against left-handers and is holding his own. But the only outfielder that doesn't have to look at the lineup card every day, other than, you know, today, but he knew that was a planned day off, obviously, is all-star Charlie Blackman. Story and Arenado, they know they're going to be in the lineup. Now you have an opening at second. Hopefully it's not a long period of time. As I said, with DJ's injury, they're still learning more about it over the next 24 to 48 hours. And clearly Desmond has to get going at first base. And I think you'll continue to see almost a 50-50 split behind the plate, just because it, more than anything, Tony's ability defensively, and that's not a slight on Chris Iannetta, but You know, Chris is the guy that brings power to the plate. So you'll see a combination there. One of the big things in this era of home runs and strikeouts, the Rockies have to find a way to strike out less. And Buddy Black was pretty emphatic about that just 2 days ago after the Freddie Peralta 13 strikeout performance. 1-2, and Parra went 2 outs. And today, that's a dozen strikeouts.
There's times, Drew, strikeouts are a byproduct of players trying to do too much. Whether it's trying to earn that spot that we're talking about. Maybe it's a mechanical flaw in the swing. There's several. I mean, it's too many times in a short period of time where you're tipping your cap to the pitcher and you're saying, all right, that was really good. That guy pitched really well today. Well, eventually you have to say stop.
We had this discussion a couple times last year because the Rockies were you know, flawed at times offensively last year. They had 2 guys have ridiculously good years in Nolan, obviously, and Charlie Blackmon. DJ was DJ. But we had periods where, I remember saying that exact thing, whether it was you or me or Jeff on the air, saying, you know, at some point you got to stop tipping your cap, say, boy, he was really good today. Got to find a way. Yesterday, the Rockies found a way in a 6-4 victory. Right now, with 2 outs in the 9th inning, they have 1 hit. Ball and 2 strikes. And the Rockies off tomorrow. They'll open up the 4-game set in San Francisco on Thursday night. Padres fly after the ballgame to Pittsburgh. Have a day off tomorrow. They'll be battling weather, from what I understand, in Western PA over the next few days. Taking on Clint Hurdle's Pirates. 1-2. Two and two. Rockies had a 3-game winning streak at Petco, coming in 12-7 their last 19 here. After down 4-zip in the 9th with 2 outs. 2-2. And that will end a tough day at the office for the Rockies. They're shut out. They're 1 hit. And if not for Trevor Story's single in the 8th inning, who knows? Jordan Lyles came within 5 outs of throwing a perfect game. Lyles gets his first victory of the season. It comes against his former team. Marquez takes the loss. He drops to 2-5. Hand gets the save, his 12th of the year. For the Padres, it's their 29th one-hitter all time. They still are the only Major League franchise without a no-hitter. 4-0 the final. Back to San Diego with the Dakota postgame show after this.